You know what? I've been obsessed with handheld gaming lately. So I have the Nintendo Switch OLED, which I purchased recently for when I want to play Mario or Zelda. And I have the Neo Air 1S for when I want to play Windows Game Pass games. Also, while I've not made detailed videos on these devices, I've tested the Steam Deck OLED, the Asus ROG Ally, the original one, and even the Lenovo Legion Go. So when Asus asked me, should we send across the ROG Ally X for review? Duh, is that even a question to ask? Mainly because I wanted to test out the claims that this one has superior battery life with the larger battery inside it. Because trust me, battery life is the biggest problem with Windows gaming handhelds even today. Alright, with that out of the way, let me take you through all that's different and changed on the Asus ROG Ally X. And I'll tell you why. It's actually my favorite Windows gaming handheld right now. And I'll tell you if you should buy it or not by the end of this video. If you're here for the first time, I'm Arshad, you're watching Trakin English, your destination for detailed, incisive gadget reviews. Evidently, the first change is that the design has been modified quite a bit to accommodate the large battery now. So it's thicker and heavier compared to the original ROG Ally and even something like the Steam Deck OLED. But it's still much lighter when you consider the behemoth that was the Legion Go, which was at least 200 grams more. Now, while it is thicker and heavier, I do appreciate the change in the ergonomics that Asus has made with the design. Now, the modified design now has a thicker, meatier grip, and you get a bit of a palm rest as well, so it makes it much comfortable to hold and use for long gaming sessions. The flat tone buttons have now been slightly raised, the result of which is that you do get improved tactile feedback, but when you press them, it does make more sound. Oh, look at this. You also get an 8-way D-pad, which is slightly mushy and not as tactile as the face buttons, but pretty good nonetheless. But more importantly, the M1 and the M2 buttons have been redesigned, so when you're playing a game now, you do not get accidental presses, which used to be a problem with the original Ally. Talking about accidental presses, I wouldn't mind any accidental presses on our subscribe button. Come on, go ahead, do it. Also, I must say this, the joysticks have been improved by leaps and bounds. They have a much wider grip, they're more comfortable to use as well, and Asus claims that it can last 5 million cycles now as opposed to 2 million cycles on the original joysticks. Also, the triggers at the top, the LT and the RT, actually have more surface area, so pressing them is very comfortable, and they are also pressure sensitive. I've spent hours playing Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 on the Asus ROG Ally X. Free Game Pass games for the win. There are two dual Type-C ports at the top. You get the volume button, you get the headphone jack, you get the power button as well. And one of the Type-C ports at the top also supports Thunderbolt 4. So if you want to attach an external GPU, which again makes it way more expensive, you can do that too. Now, on the original ROG Ally, there was a fundamental design flaw, and that was with the micro SD card slot. A lot of users were reporting that it would go bust. While Asus hasn't acknowledged that problem, they've said that it is improved on the Ally X. Now, talking about the display, you get that same 7-inch Full HD IPS LCD panel and 120Hz refresh rate as well. And this is variable refresh rate, no less. This is a crisp panel, you get fairly accurate colors, and at 500 nits, it's fairly bright too. But more importantly, since you get variable refresh rate, motion is very well captured on this display. Asus also provides Corning Gorilla Glass Victus, yes, the same Corning Gorilla Glass solution that is used on flagship phones, on this one as well. But there are a couple of concerns that I felt with the display on the ROG Ally X. Most importantly, the bezels are pretty uneven and they look kinda odd. I think that in the next edition of the Ally, they should definitely cut down on the bezels. And I absolutely hate the fact that the oleophobic coating is horrendous. It picks up a lot of smudges and dust very easily. And you cannot even avoid using the touchscreen because if you have to use Windows, you do not get a trackpad like you get on the Lenovo Legion Go. And you also cannot avoid using the touchscreen primarily because if you have to use Windows, you have to use your fingers. That's what she said. Anyway. The point is that if there was a trackpad like you have on the Legion Go, that would have been helpful because using the joystick to navigate Windows is a pain in the posterior. By the way, you get these vents at the top and that puts out the hot air. For improved ventilation, the display doesn't heat up at all, which I notice a lot on my Neo Air 1S. Also, talking about ventilation, the fans, I rarely ever hear them. The only time I actually heard them was when I pushed it to 30 watt TDP on power, and there was like this soft whir. It wasn't even that problematic. In fact, this is louder than that fan sound. Now, Asus also claims that the front firing speakers are much louder now. I don't hear it, but it sounds good. Alright, now when you talk about the internals of the ROG Ally X, not much has changed. You still get that same AMD Z1 Extreme SoC, but along with that, you now have 24 GB of shared RAM and you also get 1 TB of NVMe SSD as well. Of course, the battery size has also been upgraded to 80 watt-hours now, which many laptops also don't have. Now, because of the bump in the battery size and the thermal efficiency, the ROG Ally X can actually run at higher TDP. So the operating modes that existed, the silent mode has been bumped up to 13 watt from 10 watts now. The performance mode has gone up to 17 watts from 15 watts. And as for the turbo mode, you still get 25 watts when you're not connected to power and 30 watts when you're connected to power. Now I'll get to the benchmark numbers, but before that, I must say this is the best performing Windows gaming handheld I've tried till date. So I played indies and AAA titles both. So I played Shadow of the Tomb Raider, Forza Horizon 5, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3, Juice Ant. I also played Ori and the Will of Wisps, Hollow Knight, Disco Elysium. Yes, I've tried a lot. So let me talk about Call of Duty first, and in that game I got anywhere between 60 to 85 FPS depending on the scene and what was happening in that scenario, especially if there was a gunfight, then the FPS would drop. And I played the game at native 1080p resolution and the recommended settings, which is basically low. All the sliders were pushed to low. And if you're playing a lot of FPS games, then you cannot go wrong with the ROG Ally X because the ergonomics are fantastic. Now let's talk about the benchmarks, and you can see that on your screen right now. So we ran Shadow of the Tomb Raider and Forza Horizon 5 in 2 different settings just to showcase what difference in performance you get across the different operating modes. And you can see for yourself that the performance delta between the performance mode and the turbo mode, when it is not connected to power, when you're holding it portable, is about 7%. And the delta between the turbo mode at 25 watts and the turbo mode at 30 watts is about 5%. That's the max, which means that you can easily drop down the performance, lose about 4-5 FPS and get excellent battery life in return. Although I must mention this, the 13 watt silent mode is only useful when you're playing indie games. Otherwise, I wouldn't suggest using that. Now talking about the battery life, and I'm coming back to Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 out here, I played the game at turbo at 25 watt TDP without it getting connected to power. And at the same graphics settings that I mentioned earlier, I got 2 hours of proper playback before the system went down to 4% battery life. And for context, all the other Windows gaming handhelds at best did about 1 hour 10 minutes of gameplay before they died. So obviously the Ally X has better battery life without a doubt, even if you're playing proper AAA games. And if you're playing indies or if you're playing something that is not as taxing, you can expect anywhere between 3 to 5 hours of battery life. For a Windows gaming handheld, that is actually good progress. Effectively, what you get on the ROG Ally X is faster performance and better battery life, which is what we're here for, right? Of course, there are a lot of improvements to the hardware, the way the whole thing is structured and built. So therefore, you get improvements in performance and battery life. But ASUS has also gone ahead and improved the software experience with the Armoury Crate software. So like you see over here, the Armoury Crate app now has a very good list of all the games that you have installed on your system. You can also see the platforms that are installed on this system, so you can directly go to from here itself. And when you open Steam, it actually opens up the big picture mode. You can customize the controls, you can tune the gyroscope, you can change the RGB lighting, you can even create custom performance modes. So if you don't want to use the 3 predefined operating modes, you can actually create a manual one with your own TDP, no less. Heck, you can even change BIOS level settings here itself. You can make updates as well. This is a better version or the best version of Armoury Crate that we've used in date. But you know what continues to be a problem? That is Windows. And that problem is unending for portable gaming consoles, because what portable gaming consoles need right now is a dedicated Windows for smaller systems. And I don't think that's happening, or Microsoft is making that happen until they build their own Xbox portable. So the ROG Ally X is easily, by far, my favorite Windows gaming handheld at the moment. And the reason is pretty straightforward. It offers fantastic battery life, which is the most important thing for portable gaming, which is something that most brands should understand. But the problem is that ASUS had to fit a much larger 80 watt-hour battery to achieve that. In comparison, the Steam Deck OLED, which is my favorite overall gaming handheld because it's not a Windows gaming handheld, actually has a smaller battery and it offers similar battery life and sometimes even better. And it manages to do that primarily because it's got an OLED display and better power efficiency as well. I know and I'm aware that you cannot get the Steam Deck OLED officially in India, but the Steam Deck OLED even unofficially, is far more affordable compared to the ROG Ally X, which is priced at a whopping 90,000 rupees in our country. For that price, you can buy the Steam Deck OLED and you can pick up the Nintendo Switch on top of it. So in my right mind, I won't be able to recommend the ROG Ally X at this price. If it comes down to say about 65,000 rupees, that would be the sweet spot, or at least at the launch price of the ROG Ally. By the way, the ROG Ally's price did go down considerably after launch, which is what I'm expecting for the Ally X as well. And despite that, the ROG Ally X continues to be my favorite Windows gaming handheld till date. So what do you guys think of the ROG Ally X? Do you like it? Do you not like it? Let me know all of your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Until then, keep tracking and stay safe.